We are so happy to have you here on this memorable occasion. My name is Tracy Westman. I'm the principal here at Pell School, and I am honored to be the principal here at Pell School. We are going to be the first elementary school. We are excited to have a live space chat, the first one in Rhode Island, with a live astronaut. So we're really excited that everybody came out to join us for this wonderful occasion. And it's my pleasure to do the introduction of the Superintendent of Newport Public Schools, Ms. Colleen Germain.
Thank you, Ms. Westman. Appreciate it. I want to welcome everyone to the Newport Pell Elementary School. I want to recognize Chairman Ray Gomes, Joeva Gaines, Dr. Sandra Flowers, and Kathleen Sylvia, as well as all the other great staff that's here from the Newport Public Schools. I'm going to be brief. Listen carefully. This is very, very exciting. And I now want to introduce the person that brought this all to you. His name is Mr. Mike Cullen. He's a STEAM advocate, and he's call him the space leader, space chat man of Rhode Island, Mr. Cullen.
Thank you very much, Superintendent Burns Germain. I'm Mike Cullen. In addition to me talking about STEAM, you've probably heard that. That's a word made up of science, technology, engineering, arts, math. I also volunteer, teach cybersecurity skills at several schools. And I know when you go to Thompson, you can do cybersecurity competition called Cyber Patriot. So you fourth graders next year, when you go to Thompson, sign up for Cyber Patriot. Very exciting competition, very exciting skills that you can learn at Thompson. When you go to Rogers has a whole bunch of Cyber Patriot teams, probably more teams doing Cyber Patriot than any high school in Rhode Island. I also do something called ham radio. That's amateur radio. Several months ago, a number of us came in here after school, and we handed out a lot of walkie-talkies to 40 or 50 students, and we had a whole bunch of antennas out on your playground with wires, and we were talking to Minnesota and Louisiana and Texas. And we're going to be using ham radio today to actually talk to the space station that has 4 different ham radios on it. And we're going to be using one of them to have the conversation with astronaut Ricky Arnold. I used to fly really fast jets, long time ago. It doesn't fly as fast as the space station, which flies 25 times the speed of sound. Ours would only go maybe 2 times the speed of sound. A lot of fun. But to do it, you have to really be interested in things like math and science. So you'll hear me talk about that. A big thank you, because we couldn't do this today without the help of a lot of people in Rhode Island and around the US and in Newport. So we have to thank NASA. We have to thank the folks who are the amateur radio aboard the International Space Station project. That's a worldwide project. IBM, the Van Buren Charitable Foundation, and Newport Public Education Foundation, and Rhode Island STEAM Academy. Also, the volunteers in Newport from One Newport, and the awesome people from Newport Film and Fun Flicks that came in this morning and set up a lot of the audiovisual equipment. And also the Newport County Radio Club that is working the magic phone box with NASA to make the audio happen. And out back, if you haven't seen it, is a really, really cool TV production truck with a huge satellite dish on the top. And maybe at the end of the day, if you're lucky, you'll be able to look at that really cool truck. So thank you to everybody who made this happen. We've been working on this for almost 11 months. It took a lot of work from a lot of different groups. So thank you, everyone. So what are we doing today? I think you all know. We're going to be talking to an astronaut. This is Rhode Island Space Chat number 3, and this is the very first one that's been done at a Rhode Island public school. You're going to be talking to Ricky Arnold. This is going to be super cool because Ricky Arnold is going to be coming back to Earth in 2 days. He's been up there for 6 months, for almost 200 days. Thursday morning, as you're thinking about getting ready for school, as you're walking to school or on the bus or getting dressed, Ricky Arnold is going to be pushing away from the space station with 2 other astronauts. He's coming back to Earth. And I know he's looking forward to your questions and answers. And we're doing this again. Great picture earlier in the year as your STEM teachers, Miss Mary and Miss Lori, have done an awesome job of preparing you for this. And the student here is building a little space station model. Why is this like really, really important to you and to Rhode Island? Let me introduce a couple really super special guests who are going to talk for a couple minutes about why things like STEM, STEAM are really important and to get you really, really excited about huge opportunities that you can do when you're at Thompson, at Rogers, and when you go beyond Rogers. So first, let me introduce my good friend. I've known the Honorable Marvin Abney. He's called a state representative. You've probably seen Mr. Abney inside the school many, many times. I've seen him here, and he's from Newport. So let me turn the microphone over to State Rep Marvin Abney, and let's give Mr. Abney a big round of applause from Pell.
Thank you very much, Mike, and hello to all of the young students that we have. This reminds me years ago when I was a young student like you, sitting in an auditorium very similar to this, and I was listening to a lady who was speaking to me. Well, she was speaking to a big audience, but she was the first African-American representative from the state of Texas, and she was at my high school. And I saw this lady who was at the podium, and she was strong, and she was making some good points, and I kept thinking, who is that? And I became very curious about how people got to where they get. And I'm sure you're very curious about how some of the people became astronauts. But that struck a chord in me. I thought if she can do that, then maybe one day, it's been 50 years later, I could do the same thing. So how did I get to where I am now? After being curious, people started telling me that, Marvin, you've got to be the best student that you can absolutely be. Don't think about where you came from, think about where you want to go. And I did that. I took the tough courses. My mantra was that there are no excuses for you not doing the best that you can do as a student. So one of the messages today is, as Mike said, take the hard courses. They become easier a little bit after you get into it, but take them. The math, the sciences, the biology. It teaches you how to think critically. These astronauts that you're going to see and the one you will talk to today have learned to think critically about things. They think about the beginning and the end of it. It helps you discover new ideas. Some of you will have jobs in your life that don't exist right now because of what they're doing in outer space. That's how fast things change. Learn to accept going to new places. It may not be outer space, but outer space is certainly a new place. But learn to do that in life. Learn to accept diversity. That space station has people from several countries around the world in it. And it's just so important to understand that people other than yourselves, maybe people who don't look like you, are just as smart and in many ways. Newport has a rich history of that. I moved to this town not long ago, and people accepted me for who I was. That's what you want to do. That's why you want to be the best student that you can be. And that's why I say to you today, it's not that these people are in space. It's the same place. If you tried hard enough, you could be there or anywhere you want to be. Take the hard courses, learn to think critically, and have some curiosity. And I always say as I end, there are hundreds of students, and maybe if 10 of you said, you know what, I kind of believe that I have a curiosity, that's when you go to your teachers. That's when you say, I'm curious about this. That's when you can learn things, and that's important. Your parents. And as elected officials, I'm about to introduce the top elected official in the state, we too have a role in making sure that those courses, the 21st century courses, come to fruition. Now, having said all of that, I want to introduce a great friend of mine whom I've learned a lot from, who is tirelessly working to make sure that education is a top priority of the state of Rhode Island, and that is the governor of Rhode Island, who works very, very hard every day. When I leave the office sometimes, I leave late. She's still there. I know what they're doing for you. So it's a great pleasure of mine to introduce a great friend and a great educator, Governor Gina Raimondo.
Thank you, Chairman Abney. We call him the money man because he's responsible for most of the money in the State House, so make sure you be extra nice to him. He's doing a terrific job. We're happy to have him, and thank you to the superintendent and the principal and all the teachers, school committee members. Thank you guys, all of you, for being here. Most of all to the kids. So think about all the things you could be if you study math and science. Maybe you could be a doctor. Maybe you could be a nurse. Maybe you could be an engineer or an architect or a teacher. Or maybe you could be an astronaut. Do any of those things sound good to you? Yeah. Yeah, right? So, or maybe you could run a business. Yeah, does that sound good? Because here's the thing, or maybe you could be the governor. Or maybe you could be the president. But to do any of those things, if you want to start a business, you got to know your math. If you want to be an astronaut, you got to study science. If you want to be an architect or an engineer and build big, tall buildings, you got to study math, and you got to know design, and you got to know science. So sometimes those classes can be kind of hard. That's what Chairman Avney was trying to say, and he's exactly right what he said. Don't be afraid of the hard classes. Take them and do your best. But they can be a lot of fun too. And that's why Mike has worked so hard with all your teachers to make this possible. The point of this is study math, study science, because it can be fun. And if you do it, who knows? You might wind up in space one day. So have fun today. I can't wait to hear all your questions. We are so proud of you guys. And I'll wait and see which one of you becomes an astronaut when you grow up. Thanks.
Thank you, Governor. Now let's see if I can do this. Could you talk to the ISS? The answer is yes. So here is one young man who tried it.
You won't believe it, but you can talk to someone in space. This is Sam from Earth, calling space station. Can you hear me? This is Sam from Earth. Can you hear me?
If you want to talk to space, you need a really big antenna. Multi-elemented and made of aluminum.
Calling the space station. Can you hear me? This is Sam from Earth calling the space station. Can you hear me?
Sam from Earth. 聞こえますか？聞こえますよ。
こんにちは。こちらは
ジャパニーズスペースステーションです。もしもし、連絡してくれてありがとう。聞こえますよ。
Okay, so you saw how it gets done from the ground. You could do that. I've worked with 5th and 6th graders who passed the federal license to be able to do that. So let's understand how it's going to be done today from the perspective of the astronaut who's up in orbit.
NA1SS, this is N2SJ, over. NA2SJ from NA1SS for scheduled contact.
Hi everyone, I'm Tim Peake and welcome aboard the International Space Station, where we're orbiting Earth 16 times every day. One of the most rewarding activities that some astronauts undertake on orbit is to talk to schools using the space station's ham radio. Now these are events that are planned by ARIS, which is a worldwide group of amateur radio volunteers who are dedicated to introducing young people and students to science, technology, engineering and mathematics. Now this is the equipment here in the Columbus Laboratory, which consists of a handheld radio, a headset, and we also have a ham video unit. Now as the International Space Station orbits above your location, a radio link is established between the ISS and your school. Now because we're travelling at nearly 18,000 miles per hour, which is an incredible 25 times the speed of sound, we usually get about 9 or 10 minutes of good radio contact before losing the signal. So about 5 minutes before the scheduled start time of the contact, I come into the Columbus Laboratory and configure the radio so that I'm on the correct channel. And sometimes I'll set up the ham video too. Just before the predicted time, I'll begin to start calling the school using the standard amateur radio calling techniques. For example, if the call sign of your school was GB4 Fun, I would say Golf Bravo 4, Foxtrot Uniform November. This is Golf Bravo 1 Sierra Sierra, listening and standing by. Now at your school, the radio operator will be listening for my call, but may also transmit and try to call me as well. You'll probably have a much more powerful transmitter on the ground than we have up here on board, so I'm likely to hear you before you hear me. Then, once we can hear each other, then comes the best bit, which is actually talking to the students and answering the questions. Once I've answered all the questions, we use the remaining time to say goodbye to each other and end the connection. I'll then spend a few minutes configuring the radio back into a rebroadcast mode, and then I'll go back to my day job, which is of course doing science on board the International Space Station. ARIS is a brilliant opportunity for astronauts to talk to school pupils. It's really rewarding to hear how excited the students are when they're talking to somebody up here in space. And it's a true privilege to be able to inspire our next generation of scientists and engineers through amateur radio.
So let's talk about astronaut Ricky Arnold. He used to be a teacher. This is his second time in space. He's currently working with the lady astronaut, Dr. Serena Anand Chancellor. He's been a math and science teacher. And I mentioned he comes home in 2 days, Thursday morning. You're going to hear some words in a couple minutes. You're going to hear radio call signs, OR1SS, ON4ISS. The word over, the students know, is a super important one. At the very end, we'll say goodbye to him by saying 7-3, which is really old word from 125 years ago during Morse code. So, are you ready? Is Pell ready to talk to the ISS? Okay, so we're roughly 6 minutes away, or maybe 7 minutes away. So let's just take a breather. I definitely need to take a pause because I'm getting really excited. My hands are shaking, and I can hear my voice shaking. And I'm looking at 22 Pell students, all lined up. And in about 1 minute, coming on the telephone line, we're going to have the voice of Eris, who is in Atlanta, Georgia, and Belgium, which is across the Atlantic Ocean. If you look over here on the small screen, you can see the next pass will be in 7 minutes, 48 seconds. It's going to be going over Europe. So hello, world. We're celebrating World Space Week this week and next week. And I wouldn't be surprised if we have people who are watching this live stream from around the world, from all sorts of countries. So we'll stand by, and any moment I expect that we're going to hear the voice.
Hello, students and honored guests. My name is Dr. John Clute. I'll be helping you to talk to the International Space Station today. Sometimes we call the International Space Station the ISS. We will be using amateur radio, also called ham radio, to talk to the ISS. My radio call sign is K4SQC. With the help of other hams and the astronauts, we will soon be talking with an astronaut, Ricky Arnold, on the ISS. Right now, it is about 250 miles up in the sky, and as you've heard, is traveling really, really fast. When you go for a car ride, you're traveling about 60 miles an hour. The ISS is going somewhere between 17,000 and 18,000 miles an hour, and wow, that is pretty fast. That's really moving. Right now, as you see on the map, the ISS is over Europe heading towards Belgium. A ham radio volunteer in Belgium is going to talk to the ISS using his radio. We're going to talk to the same radio using the school's telephone. That way the astronaut can hear us, and we can hear the astronaut. This is called the ARIS program. ARIS is short for Amateur Radio on the International Space Station. Many countries from around the world work on this project. Canada, Japan, Russia, and many of the countries in Europe work with us. NASA is the United States partner in all of this. That certainly is a lot of people working together to make all this happen. Helping us today is Mr. Jan Popularis, who lives in Belgium. He will use his radio to talk to the ISS. He will use radio call sign ON4ISS. As you've heard, we'll be talking with astronaut Ricky Arnold, who lives and works on the ISS right now. He has a radio call sign too. His call sign is KE5DAU. Mr. Cullen, in about a minute, with about a minute to spare, anything you'd like to add about what's going on at Pell?
Yes, thank you, John and Jans. I have a young student here named Wolfie. So we want to formally wish the world, we want to say hello world. And Wolfie? From Pell School?
From Pell School in Newport, Rhode Island.
Thank you. Awesome.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Jan, you want to tell us a little bit about your radio station, where you live, and do you have any last-minute words for the students?
Yes, okay. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk with you. The amateur radio station that assists you today with a radio link to the ISS is located in Belgium and situated in the southern region near Antwerp. The town where I live is Aartselaar. And this amateur radio ground station is kept operational by a group of volunteers from the UBA section AAA. It's the Antwerp Active Amateurs. And the realization of this ARIS Telebridge radio station are 6 volunteers direct involved. So we use two-way radios. We are fully computer controlled for frequency and antenna tracking. And when I call the ISS, I will listen to their answer, and if they are out of range, I receive only noise. So we'll give you a little impression of that noise, and in the time that we're trying to call them. So when they are in range, we can establish a contact, and I ask Ricky if he is ready, and when he is ready, I give you the opportunity to the asking questions. I wish everybody in the Pell Elementary School all the best. That's my word, John.
Very good. Thank you, Jan. Well, looks like the ISS is maybe a minute, maybe 2 minutes away. The ISS, as discussed, is really high in the sky, and it's traveling really, really fast. This is an experiment, so we don't know if it's always going to work or if it's going to work quite right. Usually it does, and we are sure going to try to make this happen today. It's very important that you say over at the end of your question. So let's do that, just like we practiced. Jan, I'm going to give it back to you.
Okay, thank you. I think we are less than a minute away, so I can try to start calling, but take a time before the really answer, I think. Oscar Romeo 4 ISS, Oscar Romeo 4 ISS. This is Oscar November 4, India Sierra Sierra for an Irish scale contact. How do you copy? Over. Oscar Romeo 4 ISS, this is Oscar November 4, India Sierra Sierra. I heard you a little bit in the noise, but it will be better in the next transmission. Over.
I have you loud and clear. I'm ready to start when you guys are. Over.
Yeah, you're ready for questions. Cool, go ahead. Over.
Roger.
Hi, my name is Sean. What time do you wake up and what is the first thing you do? Over.
Pell Elementary School in Newport, Rhode Island. Welcome aboard the International Space Station. Usually wake up around 6:30 in the morning, and the first thing I do is, probably like you do, is I get some breakfast and then think about my schedule for the day. Over.
Hi, my name is Adam. My dad likes to drink coffee. Do you have good tasting coffee on the ISS? Over.
I am not a big coffee drinker, but we do have good coffee. People up here seem to like it. Over.
Hi, my name is Jordan. Does someone make you shower every day? Over.
We actually don't have a shower. We use hot water and rinseless shampoo and soap, kind of like people would use in a hospital. Over.
Hi, my name is Gilbert. How do you celebrate your birthdays? Over.
We actually, one of my friends had a birthday up here about a month ago, and we had cake, and we sang, and we had a little party. The only thing we didn't have was candles. Over.
Hi, my name is Chloe. Do you ever get presents delivered to you from Earth? Over.
Yes, sometimes our families are able to send small presents up and snacks on when we have visiting vehicles or little cargo ships coming up to the International Space Station. Over.
Hi, this is a question from Jacoby. This is actually Governor Raimondo asking the question. What kinds of games do you play with your crew?
Over.
We like playing around in microgravity when we float, and we actually played the first game of tennis in space about a month ago. Over.
Hi, my name is Araya. Why aren't there more girl astronauts? Over.
Araya, that is a great question, and there should be more. And we have more and more female astronauts joining the astronaut corps, and we wanted to continue to see that happen. Over.
Hi, my name is Alan. What time zone do you follow? Over.
We're on the same time as London, England. Over.
Hi, my name is Jaya. Do you wash your clothes in space? Over.
We do not have running water. We just have water for food and rinsing. So our clothes, we wear them, and then we put them in a cargo vehicle that burns up in the Earth's atmosphere. Over.
Hi, my name is Sadie. Where does the ISS trash go? Over.
Just like our dirty laundry, we pack it up and we put it in a cargo vehicle that burns up in the atmosphere when it goes back. Over.
Hi, my name is Jami Lai, and how do you keep the ISS clean and healthy? Over.
We clean every Saturday morning. In fact, I just took a break from cleaning my living quarters just now, and we take actually samples down to the ground, which analyze them to make sure the environment is safe and healthy for us. Over.
Hi, my name is Logan. Do you have to wash down the outside of the ISS and its solar panel like a car gets washed over.
Logan, that would be a lot of fun, but we don't need to clean the outside. Where we are in the Earth's atmosphere is fairly clean, and we don't get a lot of debris on our solar panels. Over.
Hi, my name is Lacey. Do you have a secret room that gives you privacy? Over.
Each astronaut has their own crew quarters that's about the size of a big refrigerator. That's our own. Over.
Hi, my name is Sidoni. Why are spacesuits always white? Over.
They're white to reflect the sun's energy. Over.
Hi, my name is Kavoy. How many astronauts can go on a spacewalk at once? Over.
Over.
Oscar Romeo 4 ISS, I went 4 ISS. Are you still with me?
I'm still here.
Hi, my name is
Yeah,
Vale. How do you...
Stop.
Hi, my name is Vale. How do you prepare for a spacewalk? Over.
Did you hear the questions, Ricky?
It's 4 minutes, 4.5 minutes. How do you prepare for a spacewalk? Over. Remember, folks, this is an
Are you still with
experiment.
me, Ricky?
Oscar November 4, Initiator Sierra, are you still with me?
Yes, we're still with you. Do you have questions? Over.
How do you prepare for a spacewalk? No.
Pell Elementary School, if you can still hear me, thank you for joining me on the International Space Station. Wishing you all the best for a good school year. Over and out.
Okay, Ricky, thank you. We had a problem, I think, but we cannot sure what it was. But I really thank you very much, Ricky.
Yeah, you can't hear us. Okay, folks, how about a big round of applause for all the ARIS folks who are working this? Yeah, I'm glad, folks, that we were reminded this is an experiment. Astronaut Ricky was on a long conference call about 2 hours ago, and he's really, really busy, like packing up a car to come back to Earth. He comes in 2 days, so there's a lot of equipment that he has to pack up, and his 2 fellow astronauts are packing up. So wonderful job, everybody.
No, this is Atlanta. We just like to thank you for all the work you did. We hope that this was a wonderful experience, as we say in ham radio, 73 best wishes, and we'll catch you the next time. Operator, you can stop the recording. Jan, anything to say?
No, it's a short pass this time, but I don't know what has happened because it's an experiment, so we must investigate what was the problem. That's all.
So a big Pell thank you to Mr. Jan and to Mr. John at Atlanta, please, with a big applause. Thank you, gentlemen. Everybody in the room appreciated it, and to everybody who is watching the live stream around Rhode Island, around the United States, and around the world, let's all celebrate United Nations World Space Week. So good luck. And let me turn it over to Representative Marvin Abney.
Could I have the two STEM teachers please come up? We really do care about what happens to the programs at the schools. And we know from the State House sometimes that raising money to do little things go a long way. And we have these small legislative grants that really can make a big difference in the life of a program here at school. So really on behalf of the entire state legislature, the governor's office, everybody who's in government, I have a $3,000 check that myself and Lauren Carson, my counterpart, did, and we want to present it to the STEM teachers here to make sure that the program still goes on. Yeah.